I'm excited to talk to you all about seed banking today. First, I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that when I personally watched this film in advance of the screening, I found it difficult to watch without thinking of the people around the world who are facing similar struggles, grief, and tragedy we see depicted in the film, specifically the people of Ukraine and Palestine. The people of Palestine were especially on my mind given the recent tragedy where over 100 Palestinians lost their lives while waiting to collect flour. Controlling access to plants, whether it's food crops or culturally significant plants, has long been a tool of oppressors. In this way, as we explore the topic of seed banks today, I want to encourage you to think of saving seeds not only as an act of prudence and foresight, but an act of rebellion and hope. Today's film takes place at the world's first seed bank of its kind at what is now known as the N.I. Vavilov Research Institute of Plant Industry in St. Petersburg, Russia. The seed bank was founded by the institute's namesake, Russian botanist and geneticist Nikolai Vavilov, in the 1920s. Throughout his childhood, Vavilov witnessed the devastation of famine and saw improving the genetic diversity of agricultural crops through plant breeding as a solution. He sought out the wild relatives of agricultural species in hopes to better understand the origins of their domestication. Over the course of his career, Vavilov collected hundreds of thousands of samples of agricultural crops from 64 different countries for the seed bank. However, Vavilov was not without his critics in his time. In 1940, he was arrested for support of Mendelian genetics and criticism of Soviet scientist Trofim Lyshenko, and later died in prison in 1943 of starvation. The institute is named in his honor for his contributions to science. The seed bank in the film we'll be watching today is focused on storing the seeds of agricultural species. While seed banks were originally founded to preserve agricultural species, the practice has grown and expanded beyond this mission. For example, other seed banks, like the Dixon National Tallgrass Prairie Seed Bank, where I work, are focused on conservation and restoration. These seed banks typically focus on conserving the seeds of rare and endangered species, and even common native species important to different ecosystems, like the tallgrass prairie. This wild collected seed can then be used for research and conservation and restoration efforts. Seed banks serve an important role in restoration efforts as they often have species that are not commercially available or are hard to find. Commercial seeds often lack information about where the foundational stock of seeds came from, meaning that a restoration practitioner here in Illinois may be using seed that was originally collected in Montana, for example, and be unaware. While the species may be the same, different populations of the same species are often better adapted to the conditions of their site. Using seed from a source more local to a restoration site that practitioners can get from a seed bank may mean better outcomes for the plants and the restoration project as a whole. The journey of a seed through the seed bank starts with seed collected from the wild. Seeds are left to dry in paper bags and eventually are cleaned by hand. Once seeds are cleaned, they are counted and left in a dryer to further dry out the seed. Reducing the moisture content of the seed protects them from damage while they're frozen in the bank. We use X-ray to get a snapshot of the viability of a seed and set aside seeds to be used for germination testing. Seeds are vacuum sealed in foil envelopes, given a unique identifying number, and frozen in the seed vault at -20 degrees Celsius or -4 degrees Fahrenheit. There's a lot that we still don't know about the longevity of seeds kept in a seed bank, particularly for native non-agricultural species, so how long they may remain viable in the seed bank may be uncertain, though we hope and suspect some seeds may remain viable for hundreds of years. The life of a seed in a seed bank doesn't end here, though. Bringing seeds out of the seed bank to use for restoration efforts is the next step. This step is something that we at the Chicago Botanic Garden are excited to explore more. Right now, we are growing out several species from decades-old seed bank collections to plant out in our garden's seed nursery and natural areas for restoration. We can then collect seeds from these plants to make a new seed collection, completing the cycle. One of my favorite things about seed banking is the creativity that it requires and the tactile connection that we have with the seeds. Before seeds are stored, they must first be cleaned. Think of the last time you wished on a dandelion. If we were to bank dandelion seeds, we might try to separate the white fluff or the pappus from the seed. Doing this helps make our collections more compact and makes it easier to assess the viability of seeds. Seeds are so diverse in their shape, size, color, texture, seed coat, and fruit, and require similarly diverse techniques to be cleaned. Paper plates, brushes, sieves, rubber mats, textured surfaces, and air from a seed blower. The tools used to clean seeds are for the most part humble and simple, and all of the seeds in our seed bank are cleaned by hand. Cleaning seeds is a laborious and time-consuming process that requires continuous reassessment of the seeds and readjustment of the cleaning techniques used until the seeds reach a subjective state of clean. The person cleaning the seeds must spend time with the seeds and recognize the point when the collection is clean enough. Recently, a group of undergraduates touring the seed bank, one student mentioned to me that they were surprised by our cleaning process and had expected it to be more automated. Yes, I had a similar reaction. I should say there are seed banks that do have more automated mechanisms, but at the scale of most conservation and restoration seed banks, this work is largely done by hand, and I should say by the hands of wonderful, dedicated volunteers for the most part. Along the way, from collecting to cleaning, counting, checking viability, and packaging seeds, we're building a relationship with these seeds. And this relationship with seeds is what I would say is most important to me in my work. When I talk with people about working in a seed bank, the image that comes to mind for many people is a cold industrial facility in a far-off location where seeds are squirreled away for an apocalyptic future. I've even heard the phrase doomsday vault be used at times. But I think that this doesn't capture the vibrancy of a seed bank. A seed bank is full of potential. When we get the opportunity to grow out seeds that have been in the seed bank, it is so joyful to watch them grow and develop. Every time I see a radicle, which is the embryonic root and the first sign of germination, emerge from a seed, indicating that yes, this seed is indeed alive, I'm filled with excitement and joy. Welcoming plants into the world is truly an honor. Someone asked me once how I stay hopeful working in the environmental sector in the face of climate change, environmental degradation, and the host of challenges facing our environment today. The honest answer is that I don't always feel hopeful. But despite this, doing nothing does not feel like an option. Reflecting on this question made me realize that the act of seed banking itself is an act of hope and optimism. When we bank seeds, we don't know what their future holds or what the future will look like if and when they are brought out of the seed bank. We may use them in a few years to restore a site, or scientists still yet to be born may use them to bring back a species from extinction 100 years from now. We don't know what their future nor our future holds, yet we continue to collect, care for, and steward seeds. Whether we feel it, whether we consciously realize it or not, I believe we would not do this if not for some belief in the future and hope that when these seeds awake from their slumber in the seed bank, the world they're re-entering is better. Thank you, and enjoy the film.